Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. P. Diddy has officially taken over Fort Dix. He's there, he's doing his thing, he's having his way. They got him in the yard having parties. I mean, yo, you wouldn't even believe it. Everything that you've been hearing about Diddy gonna go through this, Diddy gonna go through that, that's a bunch of bull crap. You know what I mean? Let's play this real quick and see what's going on. All right? All right. I don't know why she do that. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Say my name, come on.
The I, the D, the D, the Y, the D, the I, the D is Diddy. Keep it going, 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 keep it going. Mecca what? Mecca audio, Mecca what? Mecca audio, Mecca what? Mecca audio, Mecca what? Mecca audio. I like the way it's going down.
All right. As you can see, many people is doing videos about Diddy. I like this joint here. You know, this way he dancing, he doing his thing, and we keeping it going. Everybody was saying Diddy's scared to go to the yard. You see him on the yard. So I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to tell you what happened when you go to the yard. Now, his first 24 to 72 hours is what they call intake and processing, right? That's where when you come in, you handcuffed, you shackled, and, you know, they strip search you, they fingerprint you, they give you the medical evaluation as far as where, you know, medical evaluation, let me take this out. Give you the medical evaluation as far as to see the doctor, the dentist, you know, and everything else that you need to, you know, see. Now, so then after that, they do the background and the gang questionnaire where it's very important because they want to know if you affiliate with a gang, or got a beef with a gang. If it's anything of that nature, then, you know, that's what they call SIS. They usually interview you last after everything else because they the ones that got to clear you to the compound after they check your medical, your dentures, you know, your dental, making sure if you bite somebody, you won't give them rabies and all that. So then SIS come, and those are the questions that they ask, right? So when they ask those questions, they sit there and, you know, depends on their answer where they go. Now, the issue of inmate clothing. Now, all Diddy's allowed to wear is the gray sweatsuit and, you know, that green jacket, and then they give you the beige uniform for you to wear, right? All right, let me turn this off so we get this thing down. All right, my bag, y'all, my bag. You know, I keep getting phone calls. But now, so everybody get to spend the same amount of money, right? Because we ride. Everybody get to spend the same amount of money, like $270, $290 a month. So all Diddy is worth now is $270 to $290 a month, just like every man you see dancing and celebrating that he on the compound, and that's what it is. Now, he could do some underhanded things, as the penitentiary would call it, by trying to send each one of those men $300 so that they could go and make sure the whole car eat. But then he got to be slick in the way he do it. There's ways to do it and make it get done. But then you're going to have what you call that gorilla. That ain't going to like what he's giving them. He's going to want more than what he's giving. That's the problem. When you feed a bear or a gorilla, right, you can never feed them enough. Never feed them enough. Because no matter what you give them, it's not going to be enough. So now, the orientation and the housing assignment, right? He's normally placed in a temporary housing assignment until you get to see him again by the unit team and the counselor and the unit manager, and they decide where they're going to put you. But Diddy, based on who he is and the moves that he made, he went right into the RDAP side over on the east side. Now, Fort Dix is broken up in two sides. It got a west side and the east side. The west side is for the people that's programming, that's trying to take the RDAP. That's where they got the elders at, that they call the honor unit. And then on the other side is where you got the little youngins that they testosterone is a little bit too much for them, right? That's the east side, right? But Diddy's on the west side. So now he's placed in a temporary housing unit, but he went right into the RDAP program. Now, the RDAP program, that's where every morning they do something like everybody inmate come out, they got to be suited and booted in their prison uniform, and then they got to sit in a circle and then you have what they call a facilitator. I was in a program over there in Coleman, right? You have the facilitator, and then they, you say your morning, whatever, you get it going, and then they ask if you got any pull-ups. That was the worst time of the whole joint when they asked pull-ups. Right? Let me tell you what a pull-up looked like. A pull-up looked like somebody in the RDAP program with Diddy. See, Diddy hanging out in the yard, right? And Diddy go, because it's chicken day, and everybody loves fried chicken. He loves the chicken, so he goes on the line a second time and sneaks past the police, get a chicken, sit back, eat it. He's picking his tooth early in the morning at the little meeting, and then, from the chicken left over last night. So then now, while he's doing that, then the facilitator asks, is there any pull-ups? Now, here goes the banger. Now, somebody stands up and he said, yes, I like to pull up Mr. Sean Combs because I seen him go in the kitchen and he hit the line twice and ducked under the rail around the police and behind the two monkey ciphers to get to the front to get a second piece of chicken. When I'm on line, I didn't even get my first one yet. So I like to pull Mr. Combs up. And that's a pull-up. In other words, you got to rat on your fellow inmate. You know what I mean? So it's like, right, the pull-ups get so stupid. Like, I would have still too long. But pull-ups get so stupid that they'll stand up in the morning and say, yeah, well, I like to pull up Mr. Sean Combs. And he said, why would you like to pull up Mr. Sean Combs? Oh, because when he came out of his cell, his hair was not combed. And was supposed to be always suited, booted, and dressed to impress because we're the face of the RDAP program. And I feel that Mr. Combs violated us by not combing his hair and making us look like we wasn't organized. But that's how stupid it is. That's the program. Do you think Diddy would be able to last in a program like that, especially after he went to trial? He went to trial. So you know he got heart. And you know how he feel about telling. And now here it is, every morning they're going to use him to pick on the tell-on. And they're going to encourage them to do it. But, that's how it is. So now the staff assess whether he needs protective custody due to high profile. That's what the SIS do. The SIS is the one that will come and say, well, you had any beef with any Bloods? You did have a little beef with Suge Knight. So, if a California Blood come here, would you be safe to be on the compound with a California Blood? Or there's a California Blood on the compound and he down with Suge Knight. Or you scared to go? Do you think there'll be a beef? Do you think it'll be a problem or whatever? Now it's up to him if he's going to say, yeah, it'll be a problem. I can't go out there. But that's when the SIS, they make that decision. Now, it's daily routine, right? And his loss of freedom. He wake up about 5 o'clock in the morning. I used to get up 5 in the morning, do my little stretches and all that, make sure my back good so when I go home, I could blow a chick back out. You know what I mean? To do what I got to do. Because the next thing you want to do is do 20, 30 years, come home and can't satisfy a woman. All right. So now, that's where we at, right? So now they have multiple count times a day, right? On the weekdays, they only have it at 10 o'clock, they'll have the count, but you ain't got to go in your cell. The police walk around the jail. If you're in the yard, they count how many people in the yard, the library, how many people in the library, you in the cell, in the unit, they go look in the cells and they make the count, right? What do you think Diddy gonna do? You think he gonna go out every morning and go dancing Diddy Bop like this or what? Somebody put in the comments and let me know. But anyway, so that's what the count time consists of. So they have one like 10 in the morning, but it's not a mandatory stand-up count. The one on the weekends and holidays is a mandatory stand-up count because it's less staff in the jail at the time, right? I think President Trump might get him out by Thanksgiving. So, I'm predicting that P. Diddy will be out for Thanksgiving. But I don't know. After Trump see him having this much fun on the yard, he might say, man, leave him where he at, man. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that's where we at. So, that's the count time. So they got a 10 o'clock, a 4 o'clock, and then a 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then they got lock in at, let's say, 9, 10 o'clock, and then the next one is at 12 at night, then 3 in the morning. You see, they continually have a count. And some of them you got to stand up for and all that bull crap, and nobody want to go through all that, So now, you restricted movements, right? Like, they might have controlled movement is where everybody moves at one time, right? When they sound the alarm that it's the move time, everybody would, go to the yard or the library or the kitchen or wherever they going all at one time. But then they have the other one where, when the doors just stay open. And that's how it was in Fort Dix back when I was in the system, because everybody wanted to get to Fort Dix, but nobody made it. Because in Fort Dix, like the doors didn't even close. So you could just get up and walk outside and go to the next unit and go in there, go talk to your man and go do what you want. And then the security's less. So everybody got a phone and everybody got a tablet and they're just having a ball. And that's another thing that we're going to have, right? Because we're going to talk. Do you know right now everybody is panicking, you know, just as much as they're celebrating that Diddy has come to the compound. They're panicking because now they're wondering if they're going to start having these big shakedowns. You're going to start hearing about them shaking out Fort Dix. Because they're going to say, how did these pictures get out here for them to put them in the AI and have Diddy dancing looking like if y'all actually playing games with us? But that's where that's at, right? So everybody's going to be worrying about where they got to hide their phones, they got to hide their tablet, they got to hide their knife, they got to hide their drugs, they got to hide everything because now Diddy's on the compound and as they say, man, Diddy done made the spot hot. You know? You remember the way they ran up in MDC Brooklyn, right? You know? All right, well, anticipate them running down there. That's just the way they do it, just so you understand, right? So now, that's the restrictive movement and all that. And they don't care if you're a celebrity or none of that. You're still going to do what they tell you to do. Now, the inmate culture and the social structure, right? You must understand that prison politics, there's race, you know, there's cars in the system. You know, respect the rules. You have to respect the rules, and you have to respect the cars. See, one thing you ain't got to worry about is nobody from another car jumping on you, right? Nobody from another car jumping on you because it's always someone in your own car. Because somebody from the other car jump on you, then the whole car have to move and jump on their car. And that's the way it is. So Diddy is officially, he checked in. He said, man, I'm with the New York car. So he in the yard with the New York brothers. So he done checked in, right? Checked in on a good way, meaning he checked in, he on count, you know what I mean, with the New York car. They said that they also put Diddy's desk right up by the front by the police, right? Right by the front by the police is where Diddy's desk is at. Like as soon as you come in the cell, but they did that because he's a high-profile person, and they want to know where he at all times, you know. And you know they're a little nervous. He might spend the bag and make moves, or you know they ain't really trying to go with, right? But that's where we at. So I'm just showing y'all a few little joints that they got, you know, with this, you know, so you can see Diddy over there doing his thing, right? So now you got, you know, all eyes is gonna be on Diddy. No matter where he go, everybody's gonna be watching him. You know what I mean? The police watch him, the inmates watch him. Everybody got their cell phone. You can see dudes right there sneaking with their cell phone. Boop, got a picture. Boop, got a picture. And they send it out to people. They hitting TMZ and everybody's eating, but Diddy can't get in trouble for that because they took the picture of him, you know? And I don't think that they'll be able to fly a drone over Fort Dix to be able to get a video of the yard with them dancing and whatever Diddy's doing in there. Right? So you must understand, like I said, the prison politics, man. You know, stay in your place, stay in your line. All that recklessness that's going on out here, they don't do that in there. You know, like I said, all eyes will be on him. You know, celebrities is always tested, they challenged or exploited. But, you know, I ain't got that happening. Diddy, like his man Charlucci said, he from Harlem, so we ain't got that happening, right? Now, people may want to befriend him, you know, for status, for protection, or personal gain. So he got to watch everybody coming at him. And the first thing that your lawyer would tell you is, nigga, don't go in there telling no crazy stories about what you did because they're going to give you a new indictment because there's a whole lot of rat bastards and flip-flop wearing and public trolls that's in there that's going to be watching to see what you're saying. So make sure you don't go in there talking too much or getting too personal when you talking. You know what I mean? But that's how they're going to want to befriend him. But then, you know, they also said that Diddy got a job in the laundry, right? Now, that's where they put me when I got into prison. They put you in the laundry because when you work in the laundry, you locked in the laundry. So that means that's a form of knowing where you at all times because they feel you a danger with too much movement, or they might do it because they feel they want to know where you at to make sure no one can get to you. There's two sides to every story. But they got Diddy there because, no, Diddy don't want to work. But now Diddy got to sit there from 8 in the morning, be locked in this room, you know, folding and washing clothes, right? So, yeah, that's what y'all want to see. Diddy going to be folding and washing clothes from 8 in the morning. You know what I mean? 7:30 work call. From 7:30 work call to 3 o'clock, you know, when work ends. So they'll know where he's at. He'll come out for lunch and, you know, smoke break, but they don't smoke no more. So they have little breaks or whatever. But he's going to be there. Yeah, he's going to be washing dirty drawers and all that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you can't discriminate, but. That's what it is. Just so you understand, right? Now, he's expected to work. He's gonna be either, but they already said he's in the laundry. But the next place they put you is the kitchen, because the kitchen is where they lock you in at. They don't normally give dudes like Diddy or dudes with a high profile case, grounds detailed to be able to move around freely. Could get lucky, and he could get in the education department as well. He'll qualify for that. Anything where they lock him in so that they know where he's at. Because if anything happened, you could imagine a lawsuit if something happened to Diddy up in that joint, right? So, he must show they got to show that he's not above the other inmates, right? Now, the dudes, right? These are the dudes, right? These are the dudes. This is what Diddy must do to survive. So we're going to talk about that. So y'all getting a little bit of everything in this right here, because this is a gangster channel. This for gangsters and those that want to know about a gangster. So the flip-flop way in public trolls, y'all not allowed. Let's stop it, right? So now, let's go. So, you got to move low-key, and you got to be humble. You can't be loud, Diddy flamboyant like you was on the street, because you're going to make yourself a prey, and that's what it is. He got to tuck his ego, and fame must be left at the gate. You know what I mean? Your status, Diddy, is at the gate, because you can't spend no more than what everybody else got, is allowed to spend, and you can't wear nothing different than that funky-ass green coat and the gray sweatsuit. So let's stop the crap. You know what I mean? All right. So now, you got to act normal. Avoid giving off, star energy. If he give off star energy, he going to be in a whole lot of trouble. So we ain't going to do that, right? So now, you got to act normal for sure, You got to choose associates wisely, right? He got to stick to older, calmer inmates who's been down for a while. And it's crazy that it took him going to prison to know he's supposed to listen to an old-timer like me. Ain't that crazy? He waits to go to prison to go listen to an old-timer like me. But that's what they say, you know what I mean? So you got to avoid gangs, we got to avoid the extortion crews and the clout chasers, because they got the clout chasers, right? So you got to follow all the rules to the letter. If he follow any of those rules wrong, that could cost him his life, right? Now, he got to follow these to the letter. Even a small infraction, right, can land Diddy in the shoe. That's called a solitary confinement, special housing unit, right? For using somebody else's phone, for going on a line twice, for taking food out the kitchen because he hungry and he don't get nothing to eat but what everyone else get to eat, so y'all can give that a round of applause, because that's what you all been wishing for. All right, okay, give it a round of applause. I know how you rat bastards and Diddy haters feel, but the tide is going to turn and you're going to realize what time it is, but we're going to sit back and enjoy. No privilege, seeking or special requests that, violate policy. Meaning he can't go to police and say, man, bring me a pack of cigarettes and I give you $1,000. Now, if you was an officer and an inmate said to you, I give you $1,000, you bring me a pack of cigarettes. And you bring them in anyway, because you could smoke a pack of cigarettes in here. Every day you bring me a pack, I'll give you $1,000. Would you do it? Put it in the comments. And if you wouldn't do it, definitely put that in the comments. All right, so let's just get this thing going, right? So he got to use his time productively. He got to take classes, read, work out, enroll in programs, show the public, he's bettering himself. That helps him for his future release narrative. For when he can say that this is what he did and that's why he won out. Now, he got to take care of his mental health, right? Isolation hits hard, right? Isolation hits hard, for celebrities. Because if Donald Trump don't get him out for Thanksgiving, he going to be laying in there looking at his bunk, thinking about what a big, beautiful Thanksgiving dinner he would have with his fancy robe and his most biggest pinky ring and his silk underwear and robe on his yacht, $68 million yacht. But now he's going to be laying in a little cell thinking about what's going on, right? So you got to use, counseling, the chaplain, or support programs to stay grounded. I mean, if he's feeling the way, he need to go to the church. If he's a Christian, go see the chaplain. If he's a Muslim, go see the mosque, the imam, and, let them know what's going on, man. That you having these thoughts. You know what? Let me take a ride. Do you know what they told me, right? They said, what was you thinking before you were to attack that person? I said, no, I was just thinking I just wanted them dead. I just see them in the corner curled up with a whole bunch of blood. And they said, yeah, well, those are normal thoughts. This is what the psychiatrist told me in the prison. He said, those are normal thoughts. Everyone has those thoughts. But no one has the balls to act on it. So we have to try and curb you from acting on those thoughts. But everyone have thoughts of committing violence. But when you go out and actually do it, that's when you have a problem. Now, these are the don'ts, right? These are the things that he can't be doing. Things that can get Diddy hurt, set up, or locked up, right? Don't flash money, right? Don't ask for favors or accept favors, or special treatment. Never pay inmates for protection. That's a no-no. Never show off commissary or other large, help. It creates enemies, animosity, haters, and of course rat batches and flip-flop wearing in public troubles. All right, don't forget they do all that, right? Never show off your commissary, like I said, right? Don't discuss, right? He can't discuss his case with anyone, or his co-defendants. He ain't got no co-defendants, so he just needs to keep his mouth shut. So y'all make sure you get Diddy this to-do list. Don't discuss his case, like I said, with co-defendants. Anything he says can and will be used against him socially or legally. Gossip spreads fast inside. Stay quiet. Don't jump into none of that. Gossip, stay fake. See how y'all getting all these jewels? Don't look down on anyone or act like a celebrity, right? Diddy, don't look down or act like a celebrity on no one, right? Arrogance is a target. Ego is confrontation. Don't get involved in prison politics. No taking sides in racial or group tensions, right? Stay neutral is the only safe strategy. Don't trust everyone who claims they can protect you. Don't trust everyone who claims they can protect you, because a lot of times the protector needs a protector. If you want to hear that story, I'll tell you a story about how a protector needed a protector and got a protector, and the protector wound up getting sucker punched and knocked out. You want to hear that one? Put in the comments or go to Unique Mecca Audio Prison Story, see the rest of them around. So, don't trust anyone who claims to be a protector. Many will use you for your gain. Stay. Look, the staff and the inmate both may try to exploit your name. You already know. So don't act like a police ain't going to try and sneak and take a picture of you and you Diddy, knowing that he can get all kinds of money for it. Now, right? How being Diddy changes dramatically, right? Every move will be watched. Guards, inmates, media, everyone waiting for a slip up. Even, right? Like, check this out. Even one disrespectful moment can go viral or cause lockdown or even cause you get more time on another charge, Mr. Combs. Just letting you know, so y'all let him know. Extortion attempts will come. Some inmates will try to, record him or, on contraband phones, like they got their little phone. They're going to try, like how they snuck and recorded it. So imagine if he was doing something, you know what I mean? Imagine if he was in the corner talking to a he cipher, monkey cipher, but he didn't know it was a he cipher, monkey cipher. And then somebody takes a picture and they send it out to the world and say, Diddy's in there, got a boyfriend. He's talking to a he cipher, monkey cipher against the wall. You know what I mean? But that's how easy it is. So that's what that's dealing with, right? Now, even one disrespectful moment can cause him to go viral, like I said, right? Some inmates would try and record him. Some would try to bait him into incidents, breaking the policy to get more time, to get stuck. And some would try to file lawsuits or rumors for payday, right? I know y'all done heard about all that, right? Now, the final message, right, to my viewers, right? In prison, celebrity doesn't make you powerful. It makes you vulnerable. You understand? It don't make you powerful. It makes you vulnerable. If Diddy wants to survive Fort Dix, he must become invisible, disciplined, humble, and strategic. Right? Check it out. The old Diddy can't survive in here. Only a new version of Sean Combs can survive in that rat hole. Now, call to action, right? What do you think? Will Diddy adjust and survive Fort Dix smoothly? Or will his past ego and lifestyle cause problems behind those walls? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We here, we out of here. All right?
Cheers, cheers, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you can consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block. Did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now you trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend it air. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it